What's up, y'all? I am doing a little work on a new project here. I've got my boat behind me that I've had for 9 years, almost 10 years now. I'm not selling it, at least not yet. I plan on keeping it. But I just picked up this new boat. I'm going to rig up. It's going to be an all-purpose boat, but I'm mainly rigging it up for bow fishing. So I'll be building a deck. We're going to build a whole platform. It's going to cost way more money than I want to spend, but we're going to build a shooting deck that's removable. So it doesn't have to have the deck on it at all times, but that's the main purpose of this boat. I had it on the water for a test run yesterday. Found out very quickly the fuel line, fuel connectors were all shot. So I bought new fuel connector, brand new rubber fuel line. Don't get the plastic gray fuel line that you buy at the store for boats. Go to an auto parts store and get the black rubber fuel line. Do yourself a favor. The gray one's got a lining on the inside that will deteriorate and collapse over time. Just a little tip there. Anyway, let's take a look at this boat up close. So the trailer's kind of a custom job here. I'm gonna replace these bunks. It loads up real easy, but it doesn't have a winch. I may end up welding something on here to bolt a winch to. I'm not sure yet. But for now it works fine. We'll be putting fenders on. That's kind of last on the list. The main goal here, the top of the list items are getting this boat ready to bow fish. So previous owner, the guy I bought it from, got it from his father-in-law, I think, something like that, who had moved the console up front, which is interesting driving it that way. He put a little bench seat in here. I'll get to these boards in a minute. I'm gonna be getting some aluminum and rebuilding a center console that'll probably just bolt to the floor. The floor here, I got a piece of scrap aluminum. I don't know what I'll use that for yet. The floor is plywood. I might replace that. It seems in pretty good shape, but I might replace it just because. We'll see. This is the only thing I have done to the boat so far is brand new priming bulb, brand new hose, brand new fittings, everything. Connector, it was leaking like a stuck pig. It would not hold prime. It ran good for about 2 minutes yesterday, and then motor died, and it would run for 3 seconds at a time. It just wasn't getting fuel, but we got that fixed. We had it running just a minute ago. Power trim works great. Everything works great on this thing. 60 horse, fuel injected. Definitely an upgrade over the little Evinrude there. Evinrude runs great, it's fine. Little old 2-stroke, easy to work on. This thing is shot. You can see where the splines are kind of wore out. I was hoping that was the only problem and I could find another drive shaft, but the part that it splines into up in the crank, basically inside the center of the motor, is also stripped out. So we'd have to tear the whole thing apart. So this is a parts motor that I'm gonna sell for cheap to a guy I know, because he's got one of these motors and needs parts. So it'll have another life, just not on any of my boats. Trailer lights kind of work. There's a bad ground issue. I'm not a fan of these types of splices. There's wire nuts on the front. I actually had to replace a wire nut because the other one came off and everything's corroded in there. So I bought a new wire harness, and I also bought, which this trailer doesn't have, but I bought some amber side marker lights, which we're gonna probably put right here on both sides. And I even bought new taillights. I said, screw it, we'll redo the whole lighting on the whole trailer, why not? This old Minn Kota, I had it running, doesn't go very fast, not sure what's wrong with it. It's a 12 volt, 50 pound. It's going. I may just keep it as a backup motor, but it doesn't run full power for some reason. Maybe the corroded battery terminals, maybe it's just wore out. My buddy Ryan gave me his old motor guide. It's been sitting in the basement, and it's a 65 pound, 24 volt. It's been wore out. I just bought a new prop for it, which I don't even know if that prop is gonna fit, but we'll see. I think it fits. Motor guide 3-blade prop, which will be better for shallow water. Excuse the wind noise, I hope it's not too bad. I got these boards of wood out of the barn because I'm gonna cut them and make like a frame template for the shooting deck, just to know what the exact measurements, just to make sure it actually fits. I'm not just gonna measure this and order aluminum. Some of the aluminum I may have pre-cut when I order it, so I wanna make sure the measurements are exact. So we're gonna take this trolling motor off and start measuring and cutting boards, and we'll just nail them together real quick and decide how the platform is gonna be shaped. Oh, I just stripped it out. That's sweet. We got the trolling motor taken off. We're gonna leave it off until I get this deck situation figured out. All right, I'm just doing a couple measurements here before I cut anything. I think we're gonna go 66 inches wide A little bit of overlap there. And where I have this sitting right here under the steering wheel, that is 78 inches from the tip. All right, we got them cut 5.5, 6.5 foot. All right, I've got it kind of lined up here. It's actually a little off. I measured and marked the center line here just to get everything lined up. And see, I don't want this much overhang. I might end up doing it that way, but I'm thinking I'll just cut a corner off maybe halfway. As long as there's room for lights in the trolling motor, that's the main thing. We may have to leave it square just so we got room for lights in the trolling motor in the front. All right, doing some sketches here. I have not used SketchUp in years, so I'm kind of relearning it, but it's kind of coming back to me. But we're just doing a basic sketch of all the parts, and then so I can print something out and just have something for visual reference, and then we will do a bunch of math, make a bunch of calculations so we can order this aluminum. I've been working on this all afternoon pretty much, but here I've got it separated out into the different components. This here would be the aluminum sheet that we're going to buy. It's got a seam down the middle because it only comes in 4 foot wide sections, so I'm going to have to get 2 pieces. That's not going to be cut. That's just showing where the trolling motor will be mounted, which has to be about 6 inches wide. And then here's the light rail. Everything's done to scale. I went out and measured everything. The lights I put on this model here are to scale because I need to make sure everything's going to fit, because I'm going to order a lot of this material pre-cut. So here it is, kind of stacked on top, and here's the finished product, which is here on the far end. We'll try to zoom in on it. This is what it'll look like when it's done. I got all the measurements for everything. Now, I got to do some of this on paper, so I printed it out, wrote down all the measurements, which we're doing in centimeters because the aluminum I'm going to buy is metric. And I got some other stuff like how many of each measurement I'm going to need, plus all the hardware. Going to double, triple check everything before I place an order. Probably going to have to order off a couple different websites here. We got the 80/20 website. They sell this 45 degree, which I'm going to need. And then there's a cheaper website. This website here, Automation Direct, they cut for free and they ship for free over $49. So I'll get free shipping and free cuts on this website. So I'm going to get a lot of the T-slotted tubing from them. And then this bracket, I may or may not get a couple of these for extra reinforcement, but this is the cheapest place I could find this one, like $6. So I'll order from 2 or 3 different sources, depending on who has what and which is cheaper. But I think most of it's gonna come from this Automation Direct, and then we'll get a couple from 80/20 because they have the best selection. They're like the name brand. I won't bore you all with any more details. We're gonna go double, triple check everything before I order, and then hopefully we'll get this stuff shipped in a somewhat decent amount of time and get to actually start working on it.